Living on Tulsa time. Port City Raceway is where the Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series presented by Toyota will kick off its 2023 championship weekend with the fourth running of the Donnie Ray Crawford Sooner State 55. Good evening, everyone. My name is Connor Wade. Thank you so much for tuning in to Dirt Vision here on this Thursday night. Tonight, a co-sanctioned event between the Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series presented by Toyota and the Power I National Midget League. The first of 3 nights of racing this weekend. Tonight, of course, here at Port City in Tulsa. And then tomorrow and Saturday nights at I-44 Riverside Speedway in Oklahoma City, where an Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series champion will be crowned. Let's take a look at the current race cast for here in Tulsa today. A very nice 72 degrees, no rain in the forecast this evening, very high winds of 17 miles per hour, and a lot of clouds in the sky. It actually feels pretty good out. I'm inside Turn 5, the bar here at Port City Raceway, everybody's favorite attraction at Port City Raceway, aside from the racetrack, of course. Everybody's going to be partying hard in here tonight, watching the races, while there's going to be a lot of hard racing on the racetrack, as well as the Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series presented by Toyota returns to Port City for the first time since October of last year. The last time the Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series was in action was 3 nights in Illinois during the month of September, Jacksonville Speedway in Jacksonville, Highland Speedway in Highland, and then Red Hill Raceway in Sumner, Illinois, back in the month of September. Carter Sarf rode through for his second win of the season on the first night at Jacksonville, while Chase McDermott won the series debut at Highland. And then another new racetrack, Red Hill, on Sunday night. And, well, McDermott got another win, getting to victory lane again in 2023 as he continues to put together a strong campaign. Let's show you highlights from that feature at Red Hill just a couple weeks ago.
Brayton Lynch and Taylor Reimer to set the pace on the big 3/8 mile as we bring them off turn number 4. Great flag is out. Let's do it. Brayton Lynch with the lead through turns 1 and 2, but Taylor Reimer is there on the back bumper as they race down the back straightaway. It's still the 1K out in front. Reimer through the middle part of the racetrack. Here comes Chase McDermott down low off turn number 4. Taylor Reimer trying to take the lead as they cross the stripe and give it to Brayton Lynch. Reimer trying to throw the slider in turns 1 and 2, just not enough to clear the 1K. And Lynch remains out in front. Taylor Reimer to second. Still the 40 of Chase McDermott bouncing around through turns 3 and 4. Jade Avedissian runs in that 4 spot. Cannon McIntosh rounds out your top 5. Big slider, though, for Taylor Reimer in turns 1 and 2. New leader, it's the 25K. Chase McDermott now to the inside of the 1K. Will move into second. Taylor Reimer, though, very slow coming off turn number 2. And here comes McDermott. Big run for the 40 car down in turns 3 and 4. Throwing the slider as Reimer going to try and get back underneath. It is not going to work. Sliding up now, it will be Chase McDermott out in front. Just by a nose there is Cannon McIntosh feeling pressure from Gavin Miller, who goes to the inside. Mac going to try the inside once again in turns 3 and 4. Cannon McIntosh down low in the 08. Meanwhile, up top, here we go for the lead. Again, Reimer closing in on the 40 at Chase McDermott. Miller again will try the outside part of the racetrack. Closes in on the back bumper of Brayton Lynch. Wow! Oh, so close to that inside wall. Goes the 97 to Gavin Miller. No pressure up front for Chase McDermott. The best race right here heating up between Zach Dom right of your screen, the yellow 7U and the pink 25K Buzzballs entry of Taylor Reimer. Dom going to try down in turn number 1. Does he have enough to get by the 25K? Not there. Catching the tail end of this field as the white flag comes out. How about it for Chase McDermott down into turns 1 and 2 as they battle still for second. Dom to the inside, 3 wide for a moment. The 25K up on top. Meanwhile, through turns 3 and 4 for the final time, Chase McDermott will double up here in the land of Lincoln and get it done here tonight at Red Hill.
26 features now in the books on the Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series season in 2023. And we have a great points battle for these final 3 before we crown a champion. Only 11 points separating the top 2. Clovis, California's Jade Avedissian and Bixby, Oklahoma's Cannon McIntosh separated by only 11 points entering this 3-night weekend as they both go after that $25,000 payday that comes with the Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series Championship. As we take a look at the top 5 in point standings, the top 5 separated by only 100 points. Gavin Miller, 3rd in points, 60 points back. Zach Dom has rode 5 wins to 4th in points, 67 points back. And Chase McDermott, thanks to his 5th and 6th victories of the year there in Illinois, only 100 points back. So Points battles 3 through 5 still unsettled. The top 2 really seem to be the main ones in the picture for the championship. Let's meet the 2 drivers going for the series championship this weekend.
From Clovis, California, Jade Avedissian. From Bixby, Oklahoma, is Cannon McIntosh.
You know, it's obviously been a fight all year. We were in a really good spot about midway through the year, and then we just started to have our struggles and our setbacks for sure. And now it's kind of the time where it's do or die.
It's been a lot of ups and downs, but for the most part, you know, getting 5 wins this year and having 2 last year is obviously a lot of progress. 3 extra wins. We still have 3 more shots this weekend, but no, it's been really good to work with Keith and Pete and Jarrett, Caleb, Tanner, and everyone else at Keith Games Motorsports. It's been really good. So I feel like we gave away a few wins from me putting myself in a bad position or DNFing or just me making mistakes. But I feel like overall it's been pretty good.
Yeah, you know, I feel like early in the year I felt comfortable, and I really, you know, she was struggling and I felt like we were doing really good, and then it kind of switched and she had been really good and I was struggling, and now it's kind of, we're like back and forth, you know. One of us will struggle and one of us will do good, and it's just like every night it's different. And you know, she's always going to push the limit and run it hard, and that's one thing you got to know is like she has a lot of fight. So and she's obviously very talented. So lots of speed she can make out of the car, and you know, I feel like when we both have a good car under us, we can put up a really good race. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun going into these last 3 and just go and have fun and race.
For 55 laps here at Port City. Coming off turn 4, green flag is out. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. I feel like Port City, we ran there this year, and we felt like we had really good pace, but just it's super small, so it's easy to get caught up in stuff. I got caught up in 2 wrecks earlier in this year, so we're just going to have to be super smart there and not put ourselves in bad positions.
Cannon Mac gets it done here. Night number 1 of the Charlene Mintz Memorial at I-44.
I feel like that place usually has some character. Usually you see it kind of choppy, cars bouncing around, but I feel like I've always been good on places like that. I think we've won there, or I've won there a few times now, just when it's rough, cowboy up. So, and Jade and I won the last 2 races there last year, so obviously she's gonna be hard to beat, and I feel like I'm good there as well, so it's gonna be a good battle.
Just be super smart. Obviously it's going to be point for point from, you know, qualifying good to get out of your heat race, and every spot matters in the feature. So like I said, we're just going to have to be super smart and take what we can get, and just not take ourselves out of it.
Really just try to go into it not thinking about it much. There's obviously just 3 races to go run, and I feel like the best way to go about it is just go in and just try to win, and just treat each night like another race, and basically have a fresh mindset every night. Yeah, for me to have the opportunity to go win a national championship is pretty cool. For me, I feel like there's been a lot of work throughout my career, and just, I don't know, really this whole season to not give up and still be in this position. It'll definitely pay off to be able to look back and see what we've gone through this whole year. And to be able to stick it out at the end and win a championship would be pretty unreal.
It would mean the world to me. Not only me, but my team. The amount of hard work and countless hours they put in to, you know, provide very fast 1.2 racing 71s is unreal. And especially when, you know, the championships all year round. It's one thing to go win races, but it's just a lot different thing to win a championship, from being consistent all year, and you know, you have to be almost perfect every single night to win these things. So I think it's just super rewarding if we can.
It's been a great 2023, really, for both Jade Avedissian and Cannon McIntosh, and both of them said in those interviews that we did with them earlier this week that, you know, it's been a season full of ups and downs. You start with Cannon. He came out really strong, got to a lot of wins early on in the year, won the season opening event at DuQuoin, did it again just shortly after that at I-55, and then swept the weekend at Millbridge. Unfortunately, since that Millbridge sweep, he hasn't been back to victory lane with the Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series. Only 2 podium finishes since the series came back from break at the end of July. And since the series came back from break, that is when Jade Avedissian has really shined. Got a big win at Southern Illinois Raceway in Marion, Illinois. Also picked up wins at Atomic, I-55, and then a big win at Paragon Speedway as well to bring her total for the 2023 season to 5. And of course, that run of consistently that Jade has come up with as of late is what has propelled her into the series point lead. So Jade has definitely ran better, more consistent with the series as of late, while Cannon has struggled to find the speed that he's had earlier on in the season. But if you look at what each driver has done at these specific racetracks we're going to be competing at this weekend, it's a bit of a different story. You would give the edge to Cannon McIntosh. He grew up racing at these racetracks. He grew up running mainly here at Port City. This is where he got to start running micro sprints every week. His first ever POWRi National Midget win was right here at Port City Raceway. He loves running at Port City. This is his style of racetrack. And he's got a lot of experience at I-44 as well. A couple POWRi wins to his credit at that racetrack and an Xtreme Outlaw Midget win with the series last year. Jade Avedissian also went to victory lane at I-44 last year with the Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series, but her laps at I-44 is not as many as Cannon McIntosh has put together throughout his career. And Jade also has struggled at times here at Port City, where we're at tonight at the POWRi event here earlier this year during the Turnpike Challenge. Jade had a couple of unfortunate incidents that caused her to not finish that race, so she'll try to turn things around and get some more luck on her side here at Port City tonight. We just heard from the drivers. Now let's hear from the car owners. And let's start with legendary car owner Keith Coons from Keith Coons Motorsports. I had the honor yesterday of talking to Keith over a Zoom call and asked him what Jade needed to focus on this weekend to win the championship.
11-point gap separating Jade and Cannon going into this weekend. What's the one major key for Jade to hang on and win this championship?
Finishing every one of these races, take what it gives you, get the best you can. Don't throw it away going for that extra one spot, at least until the last day, when you know where you're at going into that last day, you can, knowing what you got to get, whether you're front or if you're behind, then you can go for it. But, you just have to keep plugging away, take what the whole week gives you getting to that last race.
Yeah, there's been, I can think of probably 3 different races or 3 more races that Jade, just with Xtreme, should have won. You think about Wayne County, whenever she was trying to get by Dom, kind of tried to squeeze through a hole, spun out. Obviously, the race in PA. But I feel like the last month-ish or so, the last couple race weekends we've had, she's kind of been good about calming down, not trying to do too much. What was the process like of getting her and coaching her and developing her to that point? What were some of the conversations like of, hey, this is what you need to work on?
I think early in the year, we just kind of let her go and do her thing. She wants to run every lap at 110%. As she gets out front, she just keeps going faster and faster and running harder and harder until, a mistake happens. And we kind of let her go at that for a while, and it's always a lot easier to slow them down than it is to speed them up. So there got a point where we were in this championship hunt and talked to her a little bit and got her to, realize that when she gets out front, she's kind of got to back it down to 95% and save that extra 5% for when somebody gets to her, or, take these races for, what she can get out of them and don't throw them points away. When you're running for a championship, it's a little different than the guy that can just go all out, she's really determined, and it's sometimes it's hard to rein them back, but it's a lot easier to get them to slow down than it is go fast.
For sure. On the positive side, what stands out to you about Jade, and what makes her so good at what she does?
Everybody puts on her that she's, probably the best girl to come along. We don't really, now that we've been racing with her half this year, we don't even think of her as a girl. She's a great race car driver is the way we look at it. She is just, she has just got that it factor. She can move around. She can find racetracks. She can, she can race at the drop of the green flag. That thing. She's just like one of the best die racers. She's at her young age. She is just so talented in all the disciplines that you need for dirt racing.
You've worked with a lot of young drivers over the years, a lot of drivers her age, some a little bit older, maybe even some a little bit younger. Do you ever feel like, are there times whenever, you work with so many kids, they all seem about the same, there's really nothing that stands out about them? And then, I mean, do you feel like Jade is on a different level than some of the other drivers that have come through your program in the past?
Yeah, I think, she's obviously, 4 or 5 years ago, I watched her run micro stuff and knew how talented she was. And, and they've kept her in good equipment. And she's, when she was with Chad Bolt, it was great stuff. And Chad did a great job with her. And the really good ones, the great ones, they're easy, and that's the way she's made it for us. Right from the get-go, she just, you can just tell that they move around. They don't follow, she's constantly going forward in every race that she is in. And that's the thing, we never went through that period of just kind of being there, so right from day one, it's been forward progress the whole time. So, and that's all on her, all we can do is just give her the opportunity and give her the great equipment to do her job. And, she's on that level of, soaking everything in. And, she's just a good race car driver.
Two more questions for you. First off, Port City and I-44 are both no more so micro tracks. Port City especially, you know how it is. It's tight. It's kind of one of those slide or die places. It's easy to rub wheels, rub Nerf bars. Specifically Port City, what do you tell drivers about how to get a race and how to, if you're starting deep in the field, how do you stay out of trouble and try to get to the front, just as tight as that place races?
You just gotta be looking way ahead. You gotta realize who you're racing with when you're back there. You gotta know all your surroundings. And same way, on these heat races, you really got to pay attention to the lineup, and realize who's there and know their characteristics of what they're going to do. So, as you're coming up on these people, and that's where the veterans like Zach Dom, he knows everybody. He knows which ones that he's got to avoid, which ones he can, trust that he's going to go around. And that's hard for the young kids because they haven't been around long enough, to know all the other drivers' habits. So, that's the big thing, is just really learning who's in your races, who's around you, and be aware as you're coming up on them, especially when you get to lap traffic.
And lastly, the driver she's battling for the championship, Cannon McIntosh, you know him very well, worked with him in 2020. What's Cannon like as a driver?
Cannon's good. Cannon, he started the year off, he was really, really the hottest thing going. Races really, really hard, but he's a good, clean racer, so, but he ain't going to cut you no slack. Him, Zach, Dom, neither one, you kind of know Dom's, preferred line is in the bottom. Cannon's going to go wherever. So, Dom kind of makes that bottom work when nobody else can, so, and he can get up on top when he needs to, but, Cannon's going to run really hard. And this is kind of these are Cannon's home tracks, right there between Port City and I-44. Cannon's been there so much, and probably more than the other two. So, it's going to be some good racing between them three, I think.
All righty. Thank you very much for your time, Keith. Appreciate it. Good luck this weekend.
Keith Kunz Motorsports has one of the most historic resumes in all of midget racing history. Championships with USAC and Power I. And this weekend, if Jade can get that championship, it would give Keith Kunz Motorsports its first Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series presented by Toyota Championship. Now, when it comes to Cannon McIntosh's car owner, his car owner as well, more than a car owner. It's a father-son relationship when it comes to Cannon and Dave McIntosh. They've raced together for a long time, and Dave has been a huge supporter of Cannon's. I caught up with Dave yesterday to ask him how proud he is of Cannon and what his thoughts are on Cannon's charge to win a championship this weekend.
You've seen Cannon. I remember the first time I had heard Cannon's name before then, but kind of the first time I remembered being impressed by Cannon was the Shamrock in 2020, I think that was his first USAC win. But just to see how far he's come from then to now, obviously I've got to see him as kind of a race fan mainly and report on him a little bit too. But you've seen it play out as his father. So like, what's it been like from your perspective just to see his hard work turn himself into a national midget championship contender?
It's been really kind of the transition from being a rookie. I think the Shamrock was 2019. Gosh, I think he might have been 15 years old, I believe. But just the immaturity and that he has at that age versus what you look at now, just a few years later, is it's impressive the work that goes in, because I know the mental side of the game that he's involved in, as far as keeping his mind sharp, and the physical side in the gym, training every day. And I say maturity because that's, it takes discipline to do that daily. And then he's pretty involved on the daily with the micro team in North Carolina. So there's a lot, he's juggling a lot there.
How proud of him are you?
Oh, I mean, it's all I ever wanted, as a dad that grew up, Cannon's, a lot of people don't know, he's fourth generation. So my grandfather was a racer, my dad was a racer, and we didn't have a lot of money growing up. He'd bring home a stock car or a street car, knock the windows out, and I would bench race every weekend at Tulsa Speedway, and just not knowing if I would ever have an opportunity to race. I mean, I always told people I'd race shopping carts in a parking lot if that's all I could afford to do. I'm going to race something, but to see, as far as proud, I mean, he has made his way, in my opinion. Our team was not a team without him, and we couldn't get to where we were at without him. So very proud.
He grew up racing at Port City. That's where he got his start. Has ran quite a bit at I-44s. I don't know how much he ran there as a kid, but I know he's ran there and ran well there, and obviously been around it. So just the fact that he grew up racing at those two tracks, do you think that will help him in terms of maybe just being getting in the comfort zone that he needs to win the championship?
Yeah, I think, I don't think, to me, the pressure should be off. You're home, you're in front of the fans, and you're racing on the racetracks you raced at your whole life. So, obviously a lot more laps at Port City, but tons of laps at I-44 as well, in a micro and a midget. We ran several races when we first started doing the midget deal with the West Series in Power I. So lots of races at I-44 back then. So and in fact, that's the very first place he ever tested a midget was I-44. So yeah, he's got some laps around there. And like I said, I don't think the pressure's on him. He should be able to relax and go in. And I think his mindset is going to be to win races. I think that's, obviously you don't want to put yourself in a bad spot, but the goal is to just go do what you do every night, and that's try to be out front.
Thursday, tomorrow at Port City, what advice will you give him on race day, or even Saturday if we expect it to still be close Saturday. What advice are you going to give him on race day?
Have fun. Now, it's there's nothing else that needs to be said. I can't tell him what to do because I can't do what I would be asking him to do. So go have fun. Live in the moment right now.
And then last thing I want to ask you about is Jade, the driver he's going up against. You've obviously watched her. We've all watched her come out of micros and continue to get better and better in midgets. Just talk about the competitive rivalry you've seen this year between Cannon and Jade, and what stands out to you about Jade?
Oh man, she's a bad girl. She's very talented. And what's really kind of cool is they're pretty good friends. They travel a lot together. So, in fact, me and her mother were talking in Indianapolis about sometimes, getting in the car ride back to the hotel or the airport, depending on who got into who that night. Sometimes it's a little quiet and a little ride back to the airport or the hotel. So, and that's a weird deal to be in. I mean, to be that close to someone that you're literally going at it with every single night. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, she's talented. I've known it since the day I see her race a micro. I mean, I told her parents that, like, man, this girl's got it. She won some huge races, kind of right out of the gate. Like, we kind of heard her name, and then, I think she won at in Missouri a big 10,000 win race, and I mean, she was just clicking them off. So, super talented, super great family, and wish her nothing but the best.
Alrighty. Any final thoughts going into the weekend?
No, final thoughts for me is just enjoy, like I would say to tell Ken, enjoy the moment and be proud of how far we've come as a team and the accomplishments. It's a great moment for his career and where he's at, and then it's good for our family. It's just to even be in a position, just grateful and humbled and thankful.
All righty. Thank you very much for your time, buddy. Appreciate it. We'll see you this weekend.
Thank you.
Dave Mack is going to be in attendance all 3 nights in Oklahoma this weekend, Port City tonight, and then I-44 the next 2 nights, cheering on his son. And as he said there's really no major advice he's going to give to Cannon other than tell him to just have fun. And Dave has a lot of trust in his son Cannon to get the job done out on the racetrack. Remember, points are on the line pretty much every time you hit the racetrack. Every time except hot laps with the Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series presented by Toyota. In qualifying, of course, you group qualify. 10 points to set fast time in your group. It goes down in 1-point increments through the field. Then in the heat race, 20 points to win a heat race. It goes down in 2-point increments from there. And you also get 1 point in the heat race for every position that you gain from your original starting spot when the race is all said and done. 200 points, of course, to win a feature event. So points on the line every time you're on the racetrack. The championship picture will change, just about each time Cannon and Jade go out. So it's very, very important for them to be as good as they can for qualifying, heat race, and the feature, and put a complete night together if they're going to get an Xtreme Outlaw Midget Championship and a nice $25,000 payday. Let's tell you about the site we're at tonight, Port City Raceway. It's located in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is a suburb of Tulsa. It's got great support from the racing community here in the area, and they run micro sprints every week. It's one of the top weekly micro sprint tracks in the country. Big events such as now 600 station events. They also have the Donnie Ray Crawford Memorial every year, and as well as the KKM Give Back Classic, which will actually be at this racetrack next week. But everybody loves Port City. It's a fun racetrack. It's small, it's tight, it's banked. It's one of those slide or die places, and the facility is just great, largely thanks to Shane Stewart and his ownership group here at Port City Raceway. You definitely heard Shane's name if you've been following racing, a several-time winner with the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, including the Kings Royal. I caught up with Shane earlier today and asked him one simple question: what makes Port City so special to everyone?
What makes Port City special? Tight racing. I think some of the drivers that this track's produced over the years and what they've become later on in their careers, I think is a testament to how hard this place is to teach somebody how to race. A lot of hand-eye coordination, things happen really quickly. The Tulsa area has always been a big hotbed for micro racing, and we have Factor 1 here in town and Sawyer Chassis and now D1 Midwest. There's just a lot of traffic around here when it comes to the micro scene, and Port City's been around since the 70s, and every owner that's had their hands on this place has made it nicer and nicer and nicer. And to date, I would put it up there with even some of the bigger racetracks we go to. It's a really nice place, and we take pride in that. But I mean, the history goes way back, way before me. And we're trying to uphold that name, and it's definitely one of the nicer, well-known micro racetracks in the country. There's a lot of kids that race here, and one of the coolest things is watching the kids progress, getting better and better throughout the weeks and months that we race here. We got 42 events here every year, and to see the kids progress from week 1 to our last week of racing is really special to see. And then when you see these kids go and race at other racetracks and see them do well, it makes you feel really proud.
Shane, Jen, Haas, Kenny, everybody with Port City Raceway has really done a nice job the last couple of years to make this one of the top racing facilities in the country for micro sprints, and even for the couple times a year we see midgets on this racetrack as well. Let's talk about the event tonight. It's in honor of one of midget racing's brightest young stars that was taken away from us way too soon back in 2012. Donnie Ray Crawford was one of the top midget drivers in the country, getting a prelim win at the Chili Bowl and having a lot of great runs in the Midwest in midget competition. Donnie's number was 55, and that's why events such as the Chili Bowl and the Winged Outlaw finale at the Tulsa Shootout are 55 laps in distance. And also tonight's Xtreme Outlaw and Power Eye Midget feature will be 55 laps in distance in honor of Donnie Ray Crawford. Tonight's midget feature pays $5,555.55 to win. The Power Eye Micro Sprint feature tonight pays $1,555.55 to win. The Donnie Ray Crawford Foundation really does so much to bring awareness and raise money at this event. They have raffles, and they have a 2-seater on display in the concourse area here at Port City Raceway, giveaways, silent auctions, and a lot of stuff to get the fans involved and interacting in the event tonight. It's the 4th annual Donnie Ray Crawford Sooner State 55. The event was first ran back in 2020. That was won by Logan Seavey. Since then, Buddy Kofoid got the win in 2021, and then Zach Dahm, last year's Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series presented by Toyota champion, won the Sooner State 55 right here at Port City Raceway. He goes for another Sooner State 55 crown here tonight. That does it for our pre-race show. I'm going to maybe grab a cold NOS energy drink out of the fridge here at Turn 5 and head down to the infield as we kick off this huge championship weekend.